All right, to begin my painting, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my pencil lines are almost non-existent, because anytime that you're working with watercolors, every little mark you make in pencil will show up, and once you paint on top of it, it is there forever. So, our first step is to always paint the things that are the farthest away. I'm going to start out with a little bit of sky, and this sky tends, I'm going off of my my photo, and the photo has it just like a little bit of this kind of brown, tannish kind of color of sky. I'm not real sure, but I'm going to stick with it because I think it kind of goes with the rest of the painting. So I'm going to start out with just this real thin color across my top of my sky. I'm going to pull my color down, and then just use some water to help kind of spread that color out. Now you can see I'm using a nice big brush to begin with. You always want to use big brushes at the beginning. You can go back and tidy things up later, but for now, I just got that really thin layer of paint down. It's really almost barely difficult to see. Okay. Now, remember, when we're talking about atmospheric haze, things that are farther away tend to have a little bit of a bluish tint to them. Also, they tend to be very faint or very light in value. So I'm going to grab a little bit of blue here. I've got no more light blue. So, and this first little bits of land, ooh, that's far too dark. So I started out and it was too dark. I rinsed out my brush in my water, squeezed out my extra water, and now I'm just going to pull that paint. There we go. That works for me. Remember, your paints are always going to be a bit of a mess at the beginning. That's really kind of what they're all about. This is my mountains back here in my photo. It tends to fade out real hard on that side. I'm going to rinse out my brush, get rid of my extra paint in my brush, and use that water to grade out that land line. I always want to start with the things that are farthest away. You can go back and add details to it later. I'm going to start out the farthest away. Now, I feel like a little bit of that might be a little bit too dark. And so I rinsed out my brush, kind of squeezed out some extra water, just wiping up a little bit of that extra color. Nothing too dramatic. There we go. Okay. So if I'm taking a look at the photo, what I've done so far is I've done my sky. And I did kind of this first layer of land. I'm going to get going here with this second one that's just a little bit darker. Now I'm just putting in a base layer. I can certainly add in my details, other various colors later, but for now, I'm just going to stick with this. I added a little bit of green into my color. Oh, there we go. And it's just going to kind of head over here, and it kind of fans out. There we go. Now, once I got that layer down, remember I got to move quickly. I'm rinsing out my brush, and that's just clean water. I'm not adding any more paint. I want to spread out the paint that's already there. I'm just laying down that first couple of layers, okay? I don't want anything to get too serious quite yet. I'm going to put down this underpainting, so to speak, and I will be adding layers on top of it a little bit, but not too much. I want these two to kind of fade into a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit more water over here. Rinse out that brush. Sometimes it really helps to kind of do like a small sketch before you get going, like we did with our small little mini watercolor landscapes, because it might help you kind of figure out where colors are going to go, how things are going to work together. I'm just going to kind of create a little bit of, there we go. Okay. All right. So that's my very, very, very quick version of your first step, painting in the things that are in your background